get in here. I look like Popeye the Sailor Man, don't I? I just looked at this. I look at my arms. They look so big. Actually, they're not that big. It's the way they're positioned. And then my head. Okay. I just took my braids out. So, yeah. I took my braids out. I washed my hair. Anyway, y'all, get in here. Write your questions in. I'm going to answer. I'm going to skip it. I don't want to answer. If I don't see your question, I don't see your question, okay? One of the questions that had come up before we clicked off the last one was, how do you get over a broken heart? How do you get past when your heart is broken, the breakup has happened? And I'm going to tell you the answer to that while you all write your questions in here, right? The way you get over a broken heart is by falling in love with the life that you're living now. When you have a broken heart, that is an excellent opportunity to invest your energy into building a life that will rebuild your heart. And when I talk about that, that doesn't mean going out and finding a new man or a new woman. What that means is, and that may be a part of it, but that means look at your life. Do you want to get more fit? Let me tell you this. One of the best ways to get fit is to do what they call a revenge body, where you are in that gym. Of course, do whatever's healthy for you. Talk to your doctor to make sure you're approaching working out in the most healthy way. But nonetheless, when you are working out to get your body at the level where you're like, you know what, I don't want that ex back, but the next time he or she sees me on the street, I'm going to look incredible. You may never see them again, but in your mind, it's a revenge body. You say, I'm going to do that. Go sign up for that to learn a new skill set that you want to learn to grow yourself. Buckle down in your career and build yourself up. Go do the things you didn't want to do. Because here's the thing that we don't talk about. We focus more on the heartbreak of the breakup, but we don't talk about all of the damage and the sacrifice that comes from what led up to the breakup. Because when you're in a relationship that's going downhill, it's toxic, it's unhealthy, what ends up happening is during that time period, while you're building, while you're working, while you know what it is, those months or weeks or whatever, years leading up to the breakup, you sacrifice so much of yourself. If you're like me, I remember, before my breakup, I remember in relationships, you're working so hard in the relationship, or you're sad or depressed about what's not working out in the relationship. So you may not be going to the gym as much. You may not be focused as much on yourself. You're trying to put a whole lot of energy into them. If your partner is very insecure or toxic, or maybe you don't trust them, you're spending a lot of time together so that you can make them feel good, or whatever it may be, so that you don't flare up their trust issues or flare up your trust issues. It's all these things that happens. The sacrifices that we take on, and the damage that we can do to ourselves in that time leading up to the breakup. This is now time to rebuild ourselves. So when you're sitting here, I miss him, I miss her, I want them, how do I get over them? You should not be focused on how to get over them. You should be focused on how do you build the new you. Because the reality is, do you really want them back? Do you really miss them? Or is it that you want a relationship that reflects what you truly desire and deserve? Do you really want them back? Do you really want them back? Or is it that you want what you hope that relationship would become? Why don't you build yourself into the person that can attract the kind of relationship that you want your next relationship to be? I get it. I'm not one of those people who says, oh, the relationship ended, you should just focus on yourself and not worry about no relationship. Just trust the universe and a relationship's going to fall in your lap. When people say that stuff, I literally want to smack them. So I'm just like, shut up. Shut up. It is okay for people to want a relationship. It is okay for people to be just getting out of a relationship and be thinking about wanting love again. The hell? We don't have, tomorrow's not promised. If you want love, then you should be able to have it. So that's what my point is. Pat yourself on the back for the fact that you were able to love, right? Just because the relationship didn't work out doesn't mean you weren't able to love. So pat yourself on the back for that. And then on top of that, start thinking about, what's the type of love that I want next? What type of relationship do I want next? And what parts of myself do I need to work on in order to attract that? Maybe in your last relationship, you learned that maybe you have some anger issues. Maybe you shut down when you're upset. Maybe you're too passive. Maybe you're a doormat. Maybe you excuse things. Maybe you sacrifice yourself too much. Maybe you give up your power a lot in relationships. Whatever it may be. Maybe you have commitment issues. Maybe you choose the wrong kind of people. This is a great time to work on yourself after a relationship ends, so that you can work on those parts of yourself, so that you can magnetize yourself for a healthier relationship. So you can work on yourself physically so that you can attract the kind of partner you want. Let's be very real here, okay? How we look matters. People say it only matters what's in your heart. Yeah, to a blind man, okay? But I'm going to tell you this. I've never seen Stevie Wonder with an ugly woman. You get where I'm going with that, okay? So you can't, so with that understood, honey, we still got to work on ourselves, okay? He may not be able to see, but he can feel. I'm no shade to Stevie, but I'm just talking, okay? I'm just saying, you go to that gym. Go to the gym. Okay, do what you can do that's healthy for you. Talk to your doctor. Make sure you're doing the healthiest workout for you. Watch what you're putting in your mouth food-wise, you know what I mean? You know, take care of that skin. This would be a great time to think about how you know, I don't know how to do my makeup. Well, girl, go take a makeup class, okay? I want to go out and meet people, but I just be feeling so awkward when I go to these events and these parties. I don't be knowing what to do. And everybody be dancing, be sitting around. Girl, take a dance class. I took a dance class. I always said I'm not a big dancer. That way people don't ask me to dance. But I actually took a dance class. And here's how I did it. I have a friend who's a really good dancer, right? 2 of them. And I went to both of them at different times. And I was like, hey, I went to one first. I was like, hey, you're a really good dancer. You know, can I be your dance student? And they're like, for real? I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't want to come to any dance class. I'm not going to be stumbling over my own feet in front of other people. Hell no. Eventually, yeah, but not now. And so I was like, why don't you come by my home on like whatever afternoons or whatever evenings, one evening a week, and you can teach me a new dance each week. The first couple weeks were painful. I was stumbling over my feet. It was awkward. It was horrible. I just felt so embarrassed. But the worst thing was it wasn't that bad. I was just embarrassed in front of my friend, whatever, right? My point in doing it was that I want to learn to dance, sure. But more than anything else, I wanted to be able to have the opportunity to experience more social spaces in a different way. And just standing around talking or standing around holding a drink in my hand. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be out there having fun, dancing, connecting with people. So I did that. And my other friend, he does a lot of dance too. And I was like, hey, can you do the same thing with me? And that's how I did that. So I chose to be proactive about those things. I take care of my body. You know what I mean? That's been incredibly helpful for me on my relationship journey, okay? Because it does matter. Men and women want something nice to look at. Let's just call a thing, all right? And my thing is, I may not look like nobody's Instagram model, but let me tell you this, all right, honey? I have no shame in taking my shirt off, okay? Baby, the lights can be on. How you doing? Okay? Leave the lights on. Leave the lights on. No, leave the lights on, darling. Leave the lights on. It's fine. It's fine. That's me, honey. No. Leave the lights on. Open the windows. Do you have a ring light? No filming, darling, but I do like my angles to be correct. You see what I'm saying? Girl, that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? And I'm 40. I'm 40, honey, all right? I mean, I have a flat tummy, baby, all right? But let me tell you, honey, the fat goes where it needs to, all right? That's why I eat a little extra chocolate for insurance, just to make sure the curves are right, okay? But anyway, that's what you got to do, babies, okay? Let me go to my next question, all right? My baby daddy wants to give me a second chance. What? My baby daddy wants to give us a second chance, girl. I'm confused by how he has the power to decide that he wants to give y'all a second chance or not. Isn't that a mutual decision? Anyway, he's showing a lot of growth and maturity since we broke up. What's the advice? Maybe you phrased the question wrong, but the power dynamic that's expressed through the question, because I pay attention not just to what's said, but how it's said and what may be behind that and what's between the lines. He wants to give y'all a second chance. Why is it just his choice? Why isn't it your choice too? It's both y'all's choice. But let's take that aside. I'll take that sentence off of it and maybe say maybe you just expressed it differently. You're trying to decide, should you take him back? Should you all make a mutual decision together to get back together? You think he's changed a lot? Let me tell you this, baby, okay? I'm the last person to tell you, don't ever get back with nobody, blah, 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 blah. Now, that may not be my go-to, but at the end of the day, if that's what you want, there are plenty of people who've got back together and have very healthy relationships. My personal recommendation whenever you're considering getting back with anyone would be this. First of all, I do think that you need to specifically have conversations about all the hard stuff that didn't work out before. You know what I mean? Have the hard, uncomfortable conversations before you get back together. You know what I'm saying? Have all the hard, uncomfortable conversations. What didn't work, how your heart got broken, how their heart got broken in the last relationship, and when y'all were together, have all the hard conversations. Also, if you're open to it and you have the resources to do it, consider getting into counseling together before you make the full commitment to get back together. But either way it goes, I think that you don't make a full commitment to get back together immediately. If you do choose to get back together, the commitment is, why don't we try this out maybe for about 90 days and see how it goes? Why don't we try it out for about 3 months? Just see how it goes. Set some boundaries. Be very clear about this. You know, does this mean that y'all are going to be exclusive for that period of time? Are you still going to date other people? Are you all just getting back together for this period of time while you're trying it out? Does it mean living under the same roof, or maybe living separately? Personally, I think live separately while you're trying this out. That way you don't have the pressure of being under the same roof. You know, I think you have to have some very clear boundaries. This is a great time to be able to say exactly what you need, want, and expect, and for them to say the exact same thing before y'all get back together. Have the hard conversations, all right? You're 63 on June the 3rd. Sister Real, well, happy birthday. That's like a couple days from now, isn't it? How do you stay so positive when people be so negative, trying to break you down, and how do you heal a broken heart? Well, I talked about how to heal a broken heart. How do I stay positive? I keep a positive mindset. Well, first of all, we're human. No one is positive all the time. Sometimes we don't feel that way. But generally speaking, I am always focused on what I have to look forward to. I'm always working towards something. I'm doing something. I'm working on myself. I, at this point in my life, realized that my happiness is not vested in other people. It doesn't matter who's negative. If you're a negative person, I just won't put myself around you. I was dealing with somebody a while ago, and this person has good intentions, but they are very negative. You ask them any questions, always a negative answer. If they talk about their own life, it's always so negative. I just made the choice for myself. I was like, they're a very nice person, but I don't like the way I feel when I talk to them. Therefore, I'm not going to talk to them very much anymore. Oh, wow. But maybe they're going through something. Exactly. And I'm not going through what they're going through. So why should I attract that energy and allow that energy in my life? I go through things just like everybody else, but I don't choose to make myself a negative contributor to the relationships I'm in. Therefore, they're choosing to be negative. I don't want to be around them. Doesn't mean I'm going to block them and ignore their calls. No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I'll still talk to them occasionally, but I'm not reaching out. It ain't no let's go to lunch. It's you called me. It's, hey, boo, what's going on? Yeah, we can talk real fast. Talk real fast. Good. Well, I'm glad to hear you're blessed and you're doing good. All right, yeah, I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Let me see here. I have a man that treats me like a princess, but I'm not physically attracted to him. He's on the bigger side. What advice do you have for me? I'm going to give you some unorthodox advice, all right? Because y'all chase these pretty men who's skinny and muscular and then come on here crying to me when he don't treat you right, when he cheat on you, when he do all these things, don't value and don't commit to you. I'm not saying that all attractive men are like that. But what I am saying is y'all just haven't caught on. That's what y'all ain't learned from y'all's grandmothers, which is you don't choose a man based on looks. You choose a man based on how he treats you and how he takes care of you, okay? If a man treats you good, takes good care of you, handles his business, wink, wink, you know what I'm saying? Girl, please, you be the supermodel, not him. But here's what I would do if I were you. Don't do it if you don't want to. I'm just telling you what I would do. I would probably have a conversation with him. I think that femininity allows us to be able to express hard truths to men in a way that's delicate that allows them to hear it. Right? So what are some ways that we could approach telling a man that we are concerned about his weight? Well, first of all, you need to make sure that he really likes you, all right? Because the more a man likes you, the more he will take advice from you and will do anything to keep you. Trust me on that, okay? Men, you can tell men anything. You can tell him he need to go get his teeth fixed. He need to go to the dentist. He need to get a pedicure. You can tell him anything. And he will do it if he actually wants you, all right? Trust me on that. So, how I would probably approach it is something to the effect of like, he's like, I would have a conversation with him at some point in time. Wouldn't be like, baby, let's sit and talk. When the next time he tries to push towards, baby, when you going to commit to me? When we going to make this something? When he tries, you know how they try to push. I would just be like, we're going to go through a couple scenarios. I'm just thinking, baby, can I be real with you for a second? I'm like, yeah, what's up? pull him close. Grab him by his chin when you talk to him. I like rubbing on their face. You know what I'm saying? Baby, I think you are just so handsome. Look at you. Kiss him on each cheek. You are just so handsome. And I love the way you treat me. Girl, that's always have good perfume on, honey. When a man, you know what I love? When you stand next to a man, he starts taking deeper breaths in. He inhaling my scent. I love it, baby. Okay, so I always wear something nice. And I always keep my skin soft. You can look on camera and see how soft my skin is, honey. It's softer than it looks. Trust me, all right? So let him rub up on your skin and everything like that. Baby, you are so handsome. And I love spending so much time with you. But I have a concern that because I like you so much and I would like to have a future with you, this is a concern I wanted to address with you because I'm really worried. But I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't bring it up. I don't want to, I don't know. Sometimes I worry too much about the people I care about. What do you think he'll say at that moment? No, tell me. What is it? Okay. I'm playing with my nails. I always play with your manicure, doll. And that's why you always have to keep your nails nice. Baby, I be worried about you sometimes. What you mean? Why you be worried about me? What you mean? Why you be worried about me? Because, baby, pick somebody who died. For real, like pick somebody who died. It can be your uncle, it can be a cousin. I don't know. Pick somebody, okay? We all old. We old bitches, okay? We know somebody who done died, right? I'm just saying, right? He's like, well, because, you know, my cousin, Rocco, I don't fucking know. He wasn't going to the gym. He was like you, so ambitious and accomplishing so much. He took care of everybody so much better than he took care of himself. And when he died, I saw the way that broke his wife's heart, his girlfriend's heart, his boyfriend's heart, his mama's heart. Pick somebody, girl. Pick somebody, okay? Storytelling gets the point across. Listen, okay? And I saw the way it broke her heart, and I felt so bad for her to be with the love of her life. He took such good care of her. But he didn't take enough care of himself enough to truly be there for her for the long term. So now she was left alone. I be worried about that with you too sometimes. He be like, yeah, he gonna most likely say, yeah, I do be thinking about that. I need to hit that gym up here. I know I need to change where I'm eating. And don't be like, yeah, you do. It's like, so you've thought about it too? Yeah, I thought about it. Baby, it's so important to me that you do that and get started on that. If you want my support within that, I'm happy to help you with it. But it's really important to me that, you know, that you go in that gym at least 4 to 5 days a week, at least. Even if you can't do nothing but 20 minutes on that treadmill. Now we're instructing him. Even if you can't do nothing but 20 minutes on that treadmill. And, you know, I know you work so hard and everything like that, baby. We can prepare meals at the house and have everything ready so that when you're going out here working, you already got something in your bag packed, so you ain't got to be eating out all hours and stuff like that. You so busy and you work so hard. Cup his face. You take care of everybody else, baby. Don't you deserve to be taken care of too? Because I can't imagine falling in love with you and be worried about losing you. Baby, I can't imagine that. It would break my heart. It would break my heart. You see how that work, girls? You see how that work? You use your femininity to tell a man how to do what you want him to do. It ain't hard. It ain't rocket science. Girl, be delicate. What's the alternative? Tell him, you fat and I don't want to be with you. Well, that ain't the way to do it. That ain't the way to do it. My thing is this. You've identified he treats you good. He's a really nice guy. You like him, right? You like him. So if you like him enough to actually want to be with him, but because it's not just about the weight. It is really about the other potential health risks that may come with that, right? So talk to him holistically in a way that helps him to feel motivated. This is how you get anybody to do anything. You talk to people in a way that helps them to understand the emotional drivers behind why you want them to do what you want them to do. You don't tell them, do this. It's like with your kids, right? I remember with my boys with the house, right? They were always pretty good about cleaning, but sometimes they just weren't that great with it. And the kitchen would be a mess and everything like that. And I would get so frustrated. Right? And they were teenagers at the time, maybe 16 and 17. And I remember going to them and I was like, guys, come and sit down. So they sat down. And I said, do y'all know what time I get up in the morning? And they're like, yeah, you normally get up before everybody else, like 6, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And you know, sometimes, I don't know if y'all notice if you hear me walking around at night in the house, but sometimes I'm thinking about so much from the day. I'm just so stressed that I don't fall asleep until 2 or 3 in the morning. So I may not be getting but 3 or 4 hours of sleep. So when I get up in the morning, I am exhausted. And I still have to go through a full day of work. I may not be actually done working until 7 o'clock at night. So that's a long day. And you all see me, I'm exhausted. I'm like, yeah, we see it. And so for me, I just have to be honest with you guys. You know, it brings me a lot of pride and joy to work really hard. To know the things you like. You like your shoes, you like the house, you like the trips, you like your lifestyle. And it brings me pride to be able to give that to you guys so that when you ask for anything, I can say yes without having to say no. But I do have a request of you guys. Yeah, what's the request? Well, you see, in the morning when I get up, I'm the only one who's up, and that's the only time I have peace. And I'm exhausted. And when I go into the kitchen and there isn't even a clean coffee mug in there, and I gotta wash dishes just to make a cup of coffee, it's just added stress to my morning. And I know you guys are busy and doing other things, but can we just kind of maybe figure out how we can make a team effort with this? Okay. Well, whatever you do, my only request is that by the time I wake up in the morning, can you make sure that the kitchen is cleaned? So rather you clean the kitchen at 1 o'clock in the morning or 9 p.m., it doesn't matter. Can we just have that one thing be done? That's all I'm asking. And you guys work it all amongst yourselves. Maybe you all do it together. Maybe you take 1 week, you take the other week. See how you give an instruction there? Maybe you do it, you all work it out however you want to do it. Whatever's fair for you guys. I trust you guys. You're really mature. You're going to come up with a great plan. But is that something you could do for me? You can? Okay, I really appreciate it. You can use this approach with anybody. Literally with anyone. Right? It is explaining to people what it is that you want them to do, not through the lens of a command or a demand, but through the lens of helping people to understand emotionally why this matters to you, right? You have to be vulnerable, right? Because let's be real, the question she asked about the guy who she's interested in, she says, I like him, but he's big. Well, I don't think it's just a matter of, oh, you just aren't attracted to him because of his weight. Maybe that's a part of it. But I think there's also another part of it, perhaps, which is, what does this mean for his long-term health, right? You don't want to be a hospice wife, so to speak, right? Getting with a guy who, within however many years could be severely limited because he's had a stroke or something like that because he's not managed his blood pressure or blah, 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 blah. And this is not stuff that's only associated with people who are bigger. Obviously, that's not the case. You have a lot of people who are bigger, who are technically healthy, right? By all measures, they're healthy. So we don't want to go ahead and make broad statements about people's health just based on their weight, right? But these are things that you may be thinking about, right? So anyway, just think about that. You said, bro, please get to the point. Oh, my goodness. Let me take you off of here right now. I'm going to give you a timeout because you came into my space, this space where I have 1.1 million followers over here, 2.9 million over at Facebook, almost 1 million on TikTok, and I think just about 700,000 on YouTube. Case in point, I know what I'm doing, and those who like it appreciate it, and those who don't, this isn't the space for you. So I'm going to give you a timeout. I'm not going to block you, but I'm going to give you a timeout. Smooches, my love. Okay? Let's see here. Is there a formula we should always follow to get people to do it? Like show emotion, give a compliment, am I on the right track? I think if there's a formula, I think the formula would be, I never thought of it as a formula, but if I had to come up with it off the top of my head, I would say first thing is be vulnerable. Explain to them what you're feeling, right? So like the example I gave, baby, I'm worried. When I was talking to my boys, guys, I've been dealing with a lot of stress. So start with being vulnerable first. Don't make it about them, make it about you first. Then you use that vulnerability, right? You use that as a bridge into then expressing to them what the ask is. Because here's the thing, with femininity, I love leaning into feminine energy from vulnerability, especially when you're dealing with a masculine partner, because masculine people are fixers. That's why when you sometimes talk to your masculine partner about what you're going through, you have to sometimes tell them, just listen, don't try to fix it, right? Because they want to fix things, right? So they are naturally inclined to want to fix things. So by telling them what you're feeling, the vulnerability, your fear, your sadness, whatever it may be, naturally they're going to be thinking, well, what can we do to fix it? And then you throw in what the fix is. So, baby, that's why I'm asking. Can we give more attention to you taking care of your health? Because I'm really worried. And now, I want to do that solution. You see what I'm saying? That's how I think to go about it. Okay? You said my skin is flawless. Thank you, baby. I just got out the shower. I don't have a stitch of makeup on. Let me see here. What's my skincare routine? Literally wash my face and then put moisturizer on it. I don't do anything special. I get facials normally once a month. I do that much. You like my shoulders and my biceps? What's my next question? Baby oil. This is not the time to don't play with me. I don't use that product. I feel so bad for the people who make that product. Now, literally, they sitting up here, got to go through all kinds of craziness because of that. I would hate that. Let me see here. You said, good evening. I'm a young makeup artist trying to gain exposure around and do collabs. I need advice. You mean like get exposure through social media? I wouldn't rely on collabs to start out. Because let's be real. Somebody drops into my DMs and they say, let's collab. If I was even open to doing it, I'm going to look at how many followers they have. I'm going to look at, okay, you got these followers. How many people watch your actual post? Because some people are like, I got 500 million blah, blah, blah followers, but 300 people watch your last post. Clearly it's fake, right? And so I'm going to look at that. Anybody's going to look at that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying this about you because I don't know your situation. My point is, I think when you're just getting started out, you may struggle with the credibility or the numbers to get the kind of collaborations that you want. So my thing is, as an influencer, do good content. right? Do good content. You do good videos. You go out here and find what is trending type of videos that are happening within your area of focus and do that. Grow that way, right? And then as you start to get more numbers, people are going to reach out to you for collaborations, but also you'll have the numbers so you can have leverage when you reach out to people as well to be able to say, hey, I would love to do a collaboration with you. Because you got to think, why would someone with 100,000 followers want to do a collab with someone with 1,000 followers? What do they get out of it? Right? People would reach out to me throughout the years, you know, and be like, oh my God, let's work together. We should collab together. I would love to have you do a video with me. And I'm just like, no shade at all. But it would be like, I got to run a business. I got to take care of my life. I got to do all this stuff. So I would have to find time in the day to set aside this hour or two to work with you, right? That's time that I could be putting towards myself. So what benefit do I get out of this? Because collaborations generally don't pay, right? And so what's the benefit? I'm not going to gain anything from this. It seems like you're going to gain from this. You know what I mean? And so you have to think about it that way. I'm not saying don't shoot your shot, but I am saying just be aware that if it's obvious that you're the one who's going to gain more than that person you're trying to collaborate with, you know what I mean? You get where I'm going with that? They may not say yes as quickly. I'm just giving you the reality of the business. So on the other side of it, what you can do is just do good content. Doing good content is going to get you where you need to go. It's going to get the eyeballs on you. If you want to spend money on having your content boosted, like running them as ads, pretty much every platform allows you to do that. You turn your video into an ad that can target people who meet certain descriptions or whatever. You put all that criteria in there. That way more people can see it. You may have to invest in yourself a bit. You know what I mean? In order to get more people to see your content. Now, running ads for your content doesn't mean people are going to like your content, but at the very least, it puts it in front of people so that you can then kind of see what the feedback looks like. So that's just my thought. Do good content and don't be afraid to invest in yourself. And also, if you want to shoot your shot at different potential collaborators, just be aware and don't be discouraged by this, that you may get a lot of no's or just a lot of non-responses if your numbers aren't at a high level just yet. Or when I say at a high level, meaning if your numbers are not equal to or greater than the person who you're trying to collaborate with. Because this is all a numbers game. At the end of the day, it's a numbers business, right? Brands want to work with you. How many followers do you have? Someone just reached out to me about some brand stuff, and they have reached out and they're like, hey, can you please confirm this information for us? Send us a screenshot. This is what they do. They'll say, can you please send us a screenshot of your engagement over the last week? Can you send us a screenshot of your top 10 posts from the last 30 days? They want this information, right? It's all numbers. It just is what it is, right? And so I'm just telling you how it goes, you know? MJ, how do men fall in love with you? Oh, darling, when I fall in love, it will be forever. So I know my formula. I know what's worked for me. So I think that leaning into your best self is what gets men to fall in love with you. It's not being the prettiest one in the room. Being pretty gets them to look at you. And that matters because they can't fall in love with you if they won't look at you. But that's not always what's necessary, right? Being in shape doesn't always matter either. For some men, it does. I have found that what men generally have liked about me, and I think that take from this what you will, is, first of all, I am very comfortable residing in my feminine energy, okay? I was the other day walking, well, hypothetically, you know, I don't admit to anything in my actual personal life. Hypothetically, I was walking down the street with a certain gentleman. And as we were walking down the street, he's holding my hand, right? And he's walking just a little bit ahead of me, not too far, but just a couple steps ahead of me, because he's kind of guiding me, you know, showing me where to go and everything like that, and what we're doing, right? And I'm okay with that. I am so comfortable leaning into my femininity and letting a man lead in spaces that I'm comfortable with him leading in, right? Doesn't mean he's got to lead everything, because certain things maybe I have to take the lead in. It is what it is. But I lean into my femininity, which allows him to lean into his masculinity. And every man who's a masculine man will like you more when he feels more masculine with you. In fact, I think that It's in direct proportion. The more masculine a man feels with you, the more quickly he's likely to like you or fall in love with you. Number one. Number two, I lean into the special parts of my personality that people like. All of us have parts of our personality that people like, that people tell us, oh my God, I love that part of your personality. For me, I'm funny. I lean into it. I tell jokes and everything like that. I lean into it. I make jokes about everything. I'm funny. People in general fall in love with you much quicker when they can laugh with you. I lean into that. And I also find that men tend to fall in love faster when you can be a safe space for them. And by safe space, what I mean is at the end of the day, he should not have to feel like he has to always impress you, right? He should not have to feel like he should feel like he can be vulnerable with you. He should feel like he should be vulnerable with you. Hey, Gustavo, he should feel like he can be vulnerable with you. Like he can tell you about his worst moment and his best moment. That you're the person he looks forward to when he has good news to share. You're the person he looks forward to when he has bad news to share. That's what you want from a man. You see what I'm saying? That will make him fall for you hard, is when he can feel safe and be vulnerable with you. And when you can do the same thing, of course, for him, right? It's not a one-way street. But that is definitely something that makes him fall hard. All the rest of the stuff, the bedroom action, that's great, but you can do everything perfect in a bedroom and a man will not fall for you. I mean, come on. I think we're all old enough to know that, right? Definitely don't buy him nothing. You ain't got to spend no money on a man to make him fall in love with you, right? MJ, how do you make a guy feel masculine? By being feminine. Be feminine. Be feminine. Lean into your femininity, baby. The more you lean into... Human beings operate in polarity, right? Meaning that we generally, without even thinking about it, we generally will form ourselves into a role to complement the role of the other person. So if I'm leaning into my femininity, I love what Sister Real says. She says he has to feel you need him. That's another way of leaning into your femininity. It's a huge part of it, right? Like I said, walking down the street with him, he's holding my hand. He's showing me, hey, baby, we got to go this way. We got to go this way. And well, baby, where do we go here? And even if I think there could be a quicker way, I'm not saying that shit. I don't say shit. I'm just like, okay, whatever. Leaning into your femininity is going to amplify his masculinity. And if it doesn't, then you're just not dealing with a masculine man. You know what I'm saying? Easy peasy, nothing to do there. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I lean into my femininity. I am good for a text, baby, can you help me? Oh, I will send that easy anytime. Baby, can you help me? Yeah, what's up? Baby, can you show me how to do blah, 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 blah? Baby, I don't understand blah, 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 blah. Baby, when you get off, can you please take me to so-and-so and so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Could I go do that shit on my own? In theory. Could I find someone else to ask the question to? In theory. But why would I do that when I got him? Why would I do that when I got him? The fuck? And he love that shit. He could come get off of work after work in 10 hours. As soon as he come through that door. All right, you ready? Yeah, I'm ready, baby. All right, come on. Because I know you said you wanted me to take you to blah, blah, blah. So come on, let's go. We got to go over there. Get over there before it closes. Thank you, baby. You always make me feel so safe. Baby, you take such good care of me. You always take such good care of me. Baby, I appreciate you so much. Girl, please. And here's the thing. It's not an act. It's not a game. This is me, baby. 1,000%. Why would I not want a man to feel his most masculine self with me? Yeah, the benefit of it is that he falls in love with me, blah, 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 blah. But why would I not want him to feel his most masculine self? Men treat you so much better when they feel their full masculinity. Half the issues that we deal with men is when they feel emasculated. When they don't feel safe being in their masculine energy with you, when they feel like you're taking on things that are for them to do, girl, ain't nothing worse than a man who feels emasculated. You can be like, well, he just need to learn. He need to show me that he deserves to be trusted. You know what I'm saying? Child, no. You got to activate a man. He said, I like that. I'm funny, period. I am funny. I accept that about myself, and it works really, really well in every space. Business, love, life. If you funny, lean into that shit because everybody love that. Who don't like to laugh? You know what I mean? And if you're not funny, like I have one of my good girlfriends, I would not call her a funny person at all. I cannot tell you one time I've ever laughed at a joke that she's ever told. I don't even think she tells jokes, but her femininity is she's soft and sweet. She's a charmer, honey. I have seen her, a straight woman. I've seen her charm gay men. Not that they want to be with her in the bedroom, but like I have seen gay men melt in her presence. The way she talks to them and her softness. She leans into that. She's a very charming woman. Lean into your strengths. It works so well. You know what I mean? Let me see here. You said, don't ask help to an insecure man. He will never feel enough to help and then will feel insecure about it. How about we do this one? Never be with an insecure man. How about that? Why would you be with an insecure man? Why on earth? What? Girl, the minute that you see a man that's insecure, get away from him. Girl, I would never. Because I've done it. I'm not talking like somebody like, oh, I've never. Girl, I have. I would never do it again. We all have our insecurities, but a man who lives and resides and is comfortable living in insecurity, girl, no, he will self-sabotage a relationship. Get away from that. That's just me. If you want to deal with it, God bless you. That's not my ministry. Let me see here. That's right. You got to activate these men. Let me see. What's my next question? I've been living with my parents since the pandemic to help them with rent. They have been having some serious economic issues, and I feel like I always have to help them. I feel bad when I decide to be selfish. What do? I'm the oldest one. I'm 32. Well, first of all, you made a choice to live with them during the pandemic in order to help them, right? Fine. Nothing wrong with that. I think there's nothing wrong with making that choice. However, what it sounds like to me is that at this point in time, it no longer feels like help. It feels like not necessarily that you're getting used, but it feels like the help will never end. They always are having economic issues. And my opinion is when someone's always having economic issues, that has nothing to do with them just being in a bad circumstance. It normally is a reflection of bad choices. Because any of us at any point in time can go through a bad economic time. I have gone through economic highs and I've gone through economic lows and I've gone through highs and lows. It is what it is, right? You're very blessed if you've never had any ups or downs financially, but a lot of us have. So someone having a down moment is not a reflection of them, because that's a moment. But someone having a down lifetime, well, that is a reflection of their choices. And when you talk about you feel bad about being selfish, well, let's flesh out what being selfish is in your mind. I think that we need to be selfish. We need to put ourselves first. Because my thing is, while you're helping your parents economically, how much money are you saving for your retirement? So that when you're their age, you're not an economic burden on your children, right? Are you sacrificing your future to take care of them, to make up for choices that they failed to make in their past? Parents are not. That's not your responsibility, right? You can love people, but with boundaries. And so my recommendation to you is this. I'm not saying don't help them. I'm not saying that at all. I would never tell someone not to help their family. But what I'm saying is sit down and go through your actual budget. Your budget, not for them. What do you have to spend money on for yourself, including how much money do you want to save for your future each month or from every paycheck you get? Do you have a leisure and entertainment budget you want to have in terms of money you want to spend on yourself? Set up your budget. How much money do I need to spend and or save in order to live the way I want to live? And then with whatever's left over, then that's your cap on what you can do for them. So if what's left over is okay, and that means I got an extra $500 a month or extra $200 a month, whatever it may be, to put towards them, then that's the limit. If you want to help them. There's nothing wrong with helping people, but helping people without boundaries is an abuse against yourself. I'm going to say it again. There's nothing wrong with helping people, but helping people without boundaries is abuse against yourself. And any person, family or otherwise, who would tell you, you should help me even if it harms you, is not a healthy person. They're not thinking from a healthy mindset, and they should definitely not be guiding how you approach helping them. So set your budget. I was talking to someone about this a while ago. They're like, oh my God, I help this person, help that person. I was like, well, how much can you realistically afford to do each month if you want to help your family? I got about $300 extra per month I can put towards helping my family. I said, then I think that's what your limit is. You know? I don't know if you tell them I got 300 because then they're going to magically always need 300 a month. But that's your limit. So if they get up to 300, I'm sorry, I have no extra money. I have nothing else. I'm spent this month. Sorry. What you mean? I already gave y'all 300. I don't have anything more. I wish I had an unlimited paycheck. I just don't have it. You know what I'm saying? If you were to go to your job right now and tell your job, oh, I need more money, give me a bigger paycheck, your job is going to say, I'm sorry, that's not in the budget. Or yeah, we can give you a bigger paycheck by whatever percent, but that's the limit. Everybody else has a budget. Why don't you? There's nobody on this earth that's going to give you money unlimited. So why are you giving unlimited money and resources to other people that's harming yourself? Do you think your job will give you so much extra money it's going to put them out of business? Then why are you sacrificing your financial future, putting yourself out of business really, in order to take care of other people? It don't work like that. You see what I'm saying? So again, I'm not telling you don't help your family. What I'm saying is do an actual budget, look at what you need to do for yourself, and then whatever's left over is what you can do for them. But here's the other thing. I think a lot of you guys struggle with saying no to your family because you're afraid of the uncomfortable conversation. But here's my thing I want you to think about. Would you rather go through the uncomfortable conversation of saying no to them, or go through the uncomfortable situation of not having enough for yourself? And now you can't pay your bills. Now your credit's getting messed up. Now you're in your retirement years and you're broke and you can't take care of yourself. So the cycle continues. It is not selfish to have boundaries. It is not selfish to be able to say, I literally cannot afford to help you. Or yeah, I can help you, but here's my limit. That is not selfish. You know what I'm saying? And people say, well, I helped you. Well, first of all, that's manipulative. Because if you help me, fine, I appreciate it. But that does that mean that for now, henceforth, and forevermore, I have to now sacrifice myself in order to help you whenever you need it? That's number one. Number two, you help me at the level that you were capable of helping me at. I'm not capable of helping you at that level, or I'm not capable of helping you at all at this moment. So good. I feel blessed that you had those resources at that point in time to help me in that way. But at this point in time, I don't have those resources to help you in the way you're requesting. You know what I mean? And so with that understood, let me see something real fast. With that understood, this is what I can do. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with expressing that. So I got a message that came in. And you don't even have to go through that whole conversation. Sometimes it's a matter of just saying, I can't do it right now. I wish I could, but I really can't right now. Let's talk about some scenarios. I'm going to get me some watermelon. Right? Let's talk about some ways to communicate no. Ooh, let's talk about some ways to communicate no when people ask you for money. Ooh, I think that y'all are hearing me and you're loving what I'm saying, but I think that for some of you all, you don't know how to actually do this. And so it's not that you don't want to do what I'm recommending, you don't know how to do it. So why don't I show you how to do it as I get my watermelon together? Hold on real fast, okay? Let's talk through some ways of doing it. Okay, I'm traveling right now, so I'm in an Airbnb right now. Okay, yeah, I'm in an Airbnb right now, so excuse me. That's why the decor doesn't look like my normal decor. It's cute. It's got a fabulous view. And before y'all ask, where are you traveling? You know I don't ever answer that question. I can tell you where I'm at after I leave. I don't ever tell people where I'm at while I'm there. That's just good sense. Okay? Ooh, now see, y'all can see the hair. My hair, I actually have like a little leave-in conditioner in it right now. So my little routine, and we're going to go through how to say no, is I do like a leave-in conditioner the night before. So it's not styled or anything like that. It's just kind of like just loose curls or whatever. And then tomorrow I'll put like a nice little curl cream in there, a little curl mousse or something, so that my curls will be more defined and stuff. But now it's just a little leave-in. Ain't no point in doing my hair just to go wrap it up and lay down. So let's talk about how to say no, all right? So someone asks you for money or resources, you're not able to do it, you don't want to do it. Well, the easiest thing, the simplest thing to do is just say no. I get that that's not always what you want to do, right? Another thing you can do is say, I'm sorry to hear you going through that. I'm not sure I'm able to do anything, but let me get back to you so I can actually see if I'm able to do anything at all or not. Let me get back to you. Let me get back to you. Never allow yourself to feel pressure to answer anything immediately. So like, can you just let me know now because I really need it right now? The more someone rushes you, the more you should feel comfortable saying no. My thing is, it is outright disrespectful for someone to come to you to ask for your resources and give you a timeline. That's disrespectful. So, just let me, I'm just finishing up something right now. Blame work. I'm just finishing up something right now. Let me call you back a little bit later on, okay? And that gives you time to process through. Can I do this? Do I want to do this? Because it's not a matter of can I. It's a matter of do you want to. Do I want to do this? And so on, you can actually think through it. You can run the numbers. Sometimes you're saying yes to stuff and you haven't even crunched numbers, thought about what bills you got coming due, and now you about to say yes to somebody because your instinct is to say yes because you always say yes. So that's a big one. I really recommend that. Always ask for time to think about. Hey, let me call you back. I need and let me call you back. Something you gotta say I gotta think about. Let me call you back. I'm just finishing up something, okay? I'm gonna call you in a little while, okay? All right, let me call you back. Yeah, I heard you. And thanks for calling me about that. Let me call you back though. Now, one thing I don't like is once I say no, and you push harder. That is a disrespect level up to here. I done told you no. And you pushing harder? But I was just thinking maybe we could... Somebody did that to me recently. I told them I didn't want to do something because they wanted me to pay for something. I didn't want to do that. They responded with more. Maybe we could just do it this way. We could just try this and we try that. I just said no. And that right there lets me know you are not my friend. You are just here for my resources. Because a friend, a true loved one, will take no for a no. They're not going to try to negotiate a yes out of you. Another way to say no, and this works really well if you have a spouse, get somebody else to do it. You ain't gotta tell the truth. Blame your husband. Blame your wife. I'm like, oh, can you loan blah blah? Well, let me talk to Tony about it. Yeah, girl. Let me talk to Tony about it. You know how we do in our household. Neither of us can say yes to loaning anything else. We got to talk to each other. I love that. She said she gets her kids to do it. You said your kids do that. Let me talk to Tony and see what he say about it. Okay, I'm gonna get back to you, baby. Okay, yeah, but in the meantime, we're gonna pray that it's gonna work out for you. Okay, let me talk to Tony about it. Tony ain't bit mo said yes or no. And you text him back, hey girl, I talked to Tony. No luck over there, honey. You know he can be tough sometimes. Anyway, I hope everything works out and you keep me posted, all right? I'm gonna pray for you in the meantime. Girl, that's one of the best things about having a man. You can blame him. Your man can be the biggest softy who would actually say, yes, girl, you don't actually have to talk to your man. Just blame your man. Now mine will say no. If I'm out and about, somebody asks for some shit, I just get quiet and look at him. Like, you know the deal. They, nah. They be like, nah. Yeah, I understand, like, I'm sorry. But with me, I've learned to be more comfortable with saying no. You know what's a really good resource to learn to say no also? Or learn how to say no? ChatGPT. It's excellent. Like, you can type in the ChatGPT, hey, my friend just asked me for a loan. I don't want to do it. Give me 3 ways that I can say no. You know what I mean? A nice little thing. Like, you don't have to come up with this on your own. You know? Hey, Samson. There's one thing I ain't gonna do is say yes when I don't want to say yes. So yeah, I think that's something to consider. All right, I'm going to my next question. Hold on. This watermelon good. Why do we as women have to activate men's masculinity? If we're advised to live in our femininity, why should we not expect a man to live in his own masculinity in spite of us? I think you're taking it a bit too literally, my dear. When I say activating a man's masculinity, that doesn't mean he's sitting in in feminine mode waiting on you to activate him. No. What I'm saying is, when you choose a man who's naturally masculine in terms of his core, how he guides his inner compass, right? You're right. You don't have to activate it. But I do think that it's important to do things that affirm his masculinity, that calls it forward even more, and that lets him know that you appreciate his masculinity, right? That's what I mean by activating it. So, for example, if I'm walking down the street with my guy and he's holding my hand, I don't mind if he's walking a couple steps ahead of me so he can lead where we're going. Or at the very least, so that if we're walking down the street and there are, vendors trying to sell stuff, he can be like, nah, we good. He can kind of clear the path. Or if we're going through the crowd at a concert, I'm walking behind him with my arms around his waist as he's kind of clearing the way for us. Not the other way around, the fuck? Hell no. That's emasculating to him. So in my mind, it's not about, he's feminine and I need to activate him. It's more about, let me do things, and I'm recommending that you do things that affirm his masculinity. Let's not say activate. Let's say affirm his masculinity. Thank you for the gift, baby. She said, understood. No problem, baby. And I'm glad you asked that question. Because I'm sure whatever question you have, I'm sure some other people maybe have the same question. If you are not with a man that you feel comfortable with letting him lead, in appropriate settings, of course, you know what I mean? And then you shouldn't be with that man. I will never be with a man who I don't feel comfortable with allowing him to lead. It is a decision to let someone lead you, right? You're not a child. You have a choice. And maybe I'm better with money. He might be. I don't know. So that may be a space where I take leadership in. He may come to me like, hey, baby, how you think I should handle blah, 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 blah. Right? So letting him lead doesn't mean he leads absolutely every single thing. It does mean that in some core areas, in some key areas, he has to have areas that he knows that you are comfortable with him leading him. You know, that's really important. You said, good point. Never thought of a man clearing the path. I love that perspective. Literally and figuratively. I love that. Ain't no way. Yes, you need to walk ahead of me. Of course you should. You are clearing the way. You know? If we're out and about and somebody's coming at me a little, you know, making me uncomfortable, I'm not opening my fucking mouth. I'm looking at you. Somebody come over, hey, blah, 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 blah. Can you please do XYZ for me? You know, people be trying to scam all this stuff. I look at him like, basically implying, ask him. And look at him and he already know. Nah, we ain't doing that. And if the person look back at me like, well, what's your thought? My thoughts are his thoughts. I look back at him again. The fuck? And as soon as that's done, thank you, baby. You take such good care of me. Because these people be aggravating me and you always take such good care of me. I bet your man will like that far more than you stepping up and doing it all your damn self. I mean, watermelon. I bet you like that. Don't a man want to feel emasculated? I don't care who he is. Good to see you too, Lucy. Yes, it definitely will make him more attractive to you for sure. Hey, MJ, I'm the only woman on my team at work. How can I assert myself as a professional without coming across as bitchy? Don't worry about coming across as bitchy. Because if you're a professional, you know how to assert yourself without being bitchy. Right? You're worried about what their perception of you will be. And I think that in the workplace, you have to be conscious of other people's perception, but you can't let that be your only compass. I believe in mirroring. I don't care how feminine you are. Mirroring is very important. Find two things you need to do if you're a woman working with a bunch of men. Just my opinion. First of all, pick a man on your team who is the highest ranking or high ranking, or at least very influential, that can be your sponsor. When I say your sponsor, what I mean is in the corporate sense. This is the person who can advocate for you, who can be on your side, they can mentor you, you can go to them for advice, right? Pick someone. And you don't ask them, can you be my sponsor? You don't ask for that, no. Pick the one who you think, this is someone who I know likes me, they can help me, they're going to be on my side. And make a reasonable effort to be close to them. That will help you tremendously, whether you're male or female, to align yourself with a powerful person who's influential on your team. That's first of all. Second of all, when it comes to dealing with your other male colleagues, your peers and otherwise, you need to mirror them. If you're all soft and delicate and they are not, then yeah, you're going to get walked all over and talked all over. It'd be no different than if you were a man who was too delicate and soft-spoken. Your gender doesn't really matter in that instance. What matters is that you're not adjusting to the dynamic that's at play there, right? We talk about being a cultural fit, not ethnic culture, but cultural fit within a company, right? People who tend to rise up in companies are not always the smartest. They're not always the most experienced. A lot of times it's just the ones who are a better cultural fit within the company, which in a lot of cases, sometimes we like to tie it to race, but it's not always about race. Sometimes it's just a matter of they get what the dynamic is on the team. They get how things work in terms of how people communicate, and they learn to adjust to that and work within that dynamic, right? And that's what happens. People have an unconscious bias towards people who are most similar to themselves. Right? So that's what I would say is mirror their behavior. When you're in a meeting and everyone's over talking to everybody, how does the guy who always has his thoughts being heard at the meeting, how does he interject? I remember when I worked in management consulting, it was the same situation. It was a very heavily male dominated space, very masculine men. And at the time, I always leaned into my femininity, but I didn't know how to call forth my masculinity in those spaces. I never really had to. I was always a really feminine guy. And so I had to really cut the cultivate. How the fuck do I be masculine in this space? And so there was a woman who was a high-ranking executive, and I know she kind of came across as very tough, right? But I saw moments of softness in her as well. And I used to always wonder, I was like, how does she rise up so high amongst all these super masculine men? And now let me add another element onto this. Me and her were the only two black people on the team. It was all white men, only two black people there. And she was the second highest ranking person there, right? A black woman, right? And so I said to myself, I aligned myself to one of the guys there who was high ranking because he was the guy. I didn't have a lot of access to her because she was just very busy. But he was a guy who was kind of middle management. He liked me. I knew he would advocate for me. So I aligned myself to him. Nice guy, right? But then, and by aligning myself to him, what that means is like I would ask him, do you need any help with anything, blah, blah, blah. I would try to get ahead of things for him. If I saw that he needed something, I was always making him out like, I got your back, right? But with her, I mirrored her. Because I noticed that when we were in meetings and everyone was over talking to everyone, how she would be heard, right? It's because sometimes we'd be in meetings with her peers too. So how would she be heard when she's in a room full of other men who are just as powerful as she is? And I know she would do something. She would be very quiet throughout the meeting, right? She used her silence strategically so that when she did speak, people had to listen. I observed this about her. She would just sit there throughout the meeting. She reminded me of my grandfather. My grandfather used to do this. He just would sit quietly, listen to everything. And then when he was ready to speak, if everyone's talking, he would interject by saying your name. And that's what she does. Say your name. She would, John, if I may. Using her hand. John, if I may. Almost signaling I'm interjecting, but saying their name. John, if I may. What I was thinking was, and she's not going to look at John, she's looking at everyone. As if she's doing a speech. What I was thinking was that I heard you, Sam, when you said so-and-so, and I thought that was really excellent. But then, Kate, you jumped in as well, and you said this, and I see the connection between these two things. So she would call out your name, physically interjecting, and affirm different people for what was said before her. That way they're like, oh, it makes people feel good. They got affirmed, right? And then she said her thoughts, right? I learned to mirror her. Because I said, here I am, physically a pretty small guy. I'm not very tall. So I'm physically not the most imposing presence. I'm gay. But I don't know if that was relevant because there were other gay people in the room, but I'm effeminate, softer, right? And I'm black, right? So how do I make sure that I get heard? I mirrored her. She was my mirror, right? So I had my ally who could help me, and I had my mirror. And that helped tremendously. It helped me tremendously. So that's what I would recommend in any workplace, especially if you are a minority in the workplace. And by minority, I'm not just talking about racial minority. You could be the only woman in the workspace, right? You could be a white woman, right? In the workspace full of all men, right? This has nothing to do with race. If you are the only you, whatever that you means, this is some advice I would say to consider. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Let me see here. Dating a man, and on paper, he's amazing. I want to make it work, but there is chemistry and connection missing. Should I stick it out for the sake of him being a good catch or let him go for someone else? I hear this question a lot. You guys will meet men who you say just the chemistry isn't there, but on the paper, he's amazing, right? Here's my thought. I want you to ask yourself, what does chemistry really mean to you? I want each of y'all to think about this. What does chemistry really mean to you? for a lot of you all, when you say chemistry, you're not actually talking about compatibility. What you're talking about is a feeling. I don't feel a certain way towards him. And that feeling that you're looking for is really a feeling that feels similar to how you probably felt with someone in the past who you thought you had chemistry with. When I like a guy, I feel this way towards him. In my past relationships, it felt this way when we first met. So that's how I identify chemistry. You're looking for a familiar feeling that lets your mind know that this is someone that happens when your mind feels like you're attracted to somebody. But my question to you is this. How did that feeling with those past people, how did that work out in terms of creating healthy long-term relationships for you? Did experiencing that feeling of chemistry with those past people, did it get you what you want today? I'm assuming not, because you're out here dating right now. And dating is not a reflection you did anything wrong, right? Maybe you had a great relationship with these people in the past. I was with this one for 5 years, this one for 10 years. Those relationships doesn't have to be failures just because they didn't go forever. I'm not saying that at all. They were not failures. But what I am saying is, in a lot of cases, we are looking for chemistry. We say we're looking for chemistry, but what we're really looking for is a feeling that feels familiar. I'm going to say it again. We say we're looking for chemistry, but what we're really looking for is a feeling that feels familiar. And the thing is, if you want different results, doesn't it require you to do something different? If the last relationships ain't here no more, why am I looking for a feeling that feels like the last ones? I'm not saying that attraction and all these other things don't matter, but what I am saying is, baby, we're not getting any younger. And that doesn't mean we need to settle. But it does mean that we need to think a little bit more holistically about not just what we want, but also what are the lessons that we learned from the past. Has your type always worked out for you? Has your selection criteria that you've used in the past on how to choose a partner, has that always been the best selection criteria? Sometimes we have to be willing to be honest with ourselves and step out of our comfort zones enough to say, hey, yeah, that criteria got me some nice dates, got me some nice relationships. They were fun, but ultimately it didn't really get me what I need and want today. Because the truth of the matter is, the partners that I have from the past, even if they were good men, if I could do it all over again, I would not be with those men today. Our season has passed. And so if that criteria that you've been using got you those type of people in the past, why are you using the same type of criteria today, expecting it's going to get you what you need and want today? You're a completely different person today. So here's my thought. I want you to write out on paper what it is you actually want in a partner. Be as open as you want to be about it, right? What type of career? How do you want him to treat you? How do you want him to make you feel? How do you want the intimacy to feel? Blah, 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 blah. Write everything out. Just write it out. Stream of thought. And then what I want you to do is identify which of the things in this list are absolute deal breakers, meaning that if I don't get this, we can't move forward. And which ones are negotiable? For example, do I need to be attracted to my partner? Yeah, sure. But I think that him looking like a model or looking like one of my exes, that's negotiable. At 40 years old, I'm all right with being the pretty one in the relationship. Men can get new clothes. They can get a haircut. Baby can go to that gym. But one thing you can't do is teach a man how to be considerate, how to be kind, how to be loving, how to be a good provider. You can't teach a man how to do that. So my thing is, my deal breakers are the stuff that you can't teach a man. The other stuff, I'm willing to get to know you enough to see how it flows. You know what I mean? And you'd be surprised when a man takes good care of you, loves you the right way, is kind to you, you feel safe with him. I'm saying again, you feel safe with him. You feel safe with him. He's thoughtful and considerate. You'd be surprised how attractive that man becomes to you. Some of y'all ain't never truly felt safe in a relationship. So you don't understand the value of how good it is. You ain't ever truly felt safe in a relationship, safe with a man. So when I talk about safety, you don't understand that. You're like, I still need the fire. Baby, you so worried about the fire and the chemistry because that was all you had with him. When you can barely trust a man, when you can't feel safe with him, when you can't let your hair down on him, when you don't feel like he can commit to you fully, when you have all these issues in a relationship, yeah, of course, the fire and the passion and the looks and the service stuff is extremely important because that's all you have. You learn to overvalue these things that are important, but that frankly are very superficial when those are the only things you're focused on because you were with men who couldn't give you anything else. So in order for you to be satisfied with them, you had to focus on the one thing they could do, which was go to a gym every day and look a certain way, which was do XYZ way in that bedroom, which was be physically impressive or professionally impressive, but he can't do nothing else. But now we big grown. And the question is not how do we settle for these things and call them chemistry. The question is, what do I actually need in a partner to be happy? I mean, let's take the obvious off the table. Of course, you need to want to lay down with the person. You need to be able to enjoy intimacy with them. That's obvious, right? But beyond that, what else do you need? You get where I'm going with that? Excuse me. I have no problem attracting men, but once they hear I'm a digital nomad, they automatically write me off. It's not impossible to lie about bopping. It's not possible to lie about bopping around. Let me repeat that sentence. It's not possible to lie about bopping around. What can I do? So let's talk about this, okay? I moved abroad years ago. I lived in different places. I never used the word digital nomad. Nothing wrong with that word. And I mean no offense to anyone who identifies in that way. Let me share with you why I don't like using that word for myself. Partly because of the reason you just mentioned. Nomad sounds like you're going up, like you may uproot and leave at any point in time. Can you blame someone for struggling to want to build a relationship or build close intimacy, even friendship on a deep level, with someone who may leave at any point in time? What's the point of a man investing energy in? They have feelings too. So you can live that lifestyle, but I think you have to be very thoughtful about, first of all, if you want a relationship, is there some tailoring or editing to that lifestyle that you may want to consider doing so you can actually have a relationship? Because unless you get with another digital nomad, which I can tell you is not always the easiest thing to do, unless you get with them, a lot of people are going to want to have a sense of stability, right? Doesn't mean you got to get with them and never travel, never do anything, but you got to think about that. So that's number one. Number two, you have to ask yourself, are you willing to be thoughtful about how you express this lifestyle? You know what I mean? So let me give you an example. You're dating or you're meeting people and they're like, oh, I don't know. Let's say you live in Bangkok, right? You said you'll stay if you fall in love. Okay, perfect. So you're not a digital nomad. You're someone who is simply living their life. You have the freedom of flexibility. And at the end of the day, you're just exploring where it's best to build your future at. I would express it in that way. You talk to a guy, he's like, oh, where are you from? I'm from, Chicago. Well, what brought you to Bangkok? Right? Let's say you're in Bangkok. I'm just making this up. I don't know your situation. I work from home and I decided I just wanted to kind of explore the world and see what makes sense for me. Building a really great, stable future is really important to me. And it's so amazing to have so many global opportunities to do that. He's like, so what does that mean? Like, are you traveling? Are you like one of these nomads? Are you traveling? You're going to leave? No, at the end of the day, for me, my biggest priority at this point in my life is happiness, health, and of course, having a loving relationship. So I'm taking it one day at a time, really. And I would love to be in a position where I meet a guy, for example, like you. Throw them in there. Like, for example, like you. If we were to date and it were to become serious, of course, I would love to root myself here. I mean, that's why I'm here, to be able to build a life, So, yeah, that's just kind of how it is. You can express it in a way where you're acknowledging the fact that you have flexibility while also acknowledging I'm here, and I'm willing to anchor myself, so to speak, and build roots wherever the soil is fertile. You know what I mean? Exactly. Nicole said, use your femininity, girl. Exactly. Use your femininity. But I would never tell a man I'm a digital nomad. There's nothing wrong with the term. But when I think digital nomad, sometimes I think of like a 25-year-old who is exploring the world, 3 weeks here, 3 months there, blah, blah, blah. They are not staying anywhere consistently. They have no intention to. Building relationships with long-term roots is really not their thing. At this stage of their life, they just really connect with who they connect with. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're actively dating, looking to build a relationship, I think we have to be careful about the words that we share with people, right? It's a way to express that you have global flexibility without invoking a man's fear that he may fall in love with you and you'll leave him to go to Singapore. You know what I mean? Just because, hey, I heard that it's really pretty this time of year. Let me leave and go there now. Nobody. You get where I'm going with this? So I think let's just be a little thoughtful about how you share that information. Okay? Do you have any advice on how to take initiative and speak to my manager about an attendance issue I've had in the past week? I'm a new hire and I've been performing well outside of this. Okay, so you just started a job and you've had and you're already having attendance issues? What is the conversation? Just do better. The fuck? Now, there may be some nuances to this that I'm not aware of. You're a new hire. How would I want to be approached? If I'm thinking as a manager, how would I want to be approached? I'm pretty flexible with my team about scheduling and all that kind of stuff. That's just me. I just generally am very flexible with that kind of stuff. My thing is, you got your core hours. You got your tasks you need to do. If you need to sign off early or whatever it may be, or come in late, whatever it may be, tell me in advance. That way, if there's something coming up, we can work around it. Like, they'd be like, hey, I need to start 2 hours later tomorrow. Okay, have you talked with someone else in the team to have them fill in because you know you do have that thing tomorrow morning? Yeah, are you covered? That's my whole thing. Make sure you covered. You know what I mean? As long as you can tell me you're covered and everything's going to work out, fine. You know what I mean? I'm not a micromanager. I'm really not. But I think that going to the manager proactively and just saying, hey, I really enjoyed the job. I just want to share with you some nuances of my situation that thankfully are now resolved. Not this is what's happening, this is ongoing. No, this is what's now resolved. And I just wanted to share this with you to let you know what you can expect of me moving forward. I know that over the last month, I've had to come in late a couple of times, or I missed a day or whatever. It was because of a personal family challenge that we were going through that was temporary, but that was just really tough at the time. Whatever it may be, you phrase it out you want to phrase it, right? But it's because of a health challenge that was happening. It was a health challenge. Okay. All right. These are hypotheticals, right? Health, but it's now resolved, and we don't have to worry about this happening again. But I just want to kind of thank you in advance because I know you were so flexible with everything. But I just want to let you know that it's resolved. Bam. You get where I'm going with that? I'm not here to give you any legal advice, but that can sometimes be a great protector. Is to proactively, if there were a health issue, for example. She said from an HR manager, less is more. Simply see right in here, your HR, right in here, what would you recommend that she do in this situation? Right? We got a lot of really smart people in here. Share your advice as well. But bottom line, stop coming in late. Mm-hmm. Stop coming in late. Or stop, no, I don't know what you're late. Stop with the attendance issues. You know what I mean? Just stop with it. You know? I remember I was hiring someone to do something for me at my home. This was maybe a year or two ago. Just outside the U.S. And the woman showed up late on her first day. I mean, late. I'm talking 2 hours late. And her only excuse was there was traffic. Baby, there ain't enough traffic here for that to be the case, right? So what I did was I told her, well, because she had texted, hey, I'm on the way. It's just traffic. This many hours. I knew where she was coming from. It shouldn't take that long. So anyway, I said, well, you need to be here by XYZ time because I have to leave out. And I'm not going to be able to open the door for you. She still wasn't there by that time. So I left out. And what I did was I sent her the money for that day. I still paid her. I said, here's your payment for the day. We will not be needing your services. So thank you so much. Have a good day. She never started. She never had time to even come in and do her paperwork. Here's your money as a courtesy. Thank you for your time. We won't be needing your services. Over 2 hours late your first day? Please. I don't like that. And the reason we're not legitimate was like traffic. Girl, I'm looking at the traffic map. Looking at where you're coming from. What traffic are you talking about? Let me see here. And so, all right, I gotta go in a little bit, but let me just do a couple more questions. Do you advise on, all right, read this one. I'm going through the questions. Some of them I've already read, so I'm trying to scroll by the ones I've already read. You say, I can't date men when I know they're dating other women. Am I crazy? I know when you're dating, you're supposed to date other people, but for me to know that he is dating someone else is a major turnoff for me. He should be discreet. Is that a jealousy thing, or is my point valid? Men feel the same way. Men feel the exact same way. That's why when women be like, should I tell him I'm going out with other guys? I'm like, do you want to turn him off? Girl, no. Like, I think some people can be open about the fact that they're dating multiple people and it's fine, but not everyone's built that way. I'm not saying that's good or bad. It just kind of is what it is. Absolutely not. I think that just is what it is. But here's my thing. If you don't like the information, don't ask it. Because we got to be grown. Is he dating other people? If he's a good catch to you, then he's a good catch to other people. So with that understood, if y'all aren't committed, do you think he's just only dating you? Of course he's probably dating other people, or at least open to it. Don't ask, though. Why put yourself in a position to get information you don't want to hear? You know what I mean? Why do that? You know? I wouldn't ask. You know, but I do think it's extremely important for you to date other people. Because I find that we are much less likely to feel that jealous energy or whatever you want to call it when you have other options yourself. You're right? Because I think you're more likely to feel that way when you made him your only option. Even when y'all aren't really committed yet. He's your only option. And you're like, how's he dating other people? Well, girl, he's doing what you probably should be doing also. So don't tell him. And you need to date other people in the meantime. And limit your time with him as well. Limit your time with him. If you know you're the type to get attached really to guys, you shouldn't be spending multiple days a week with them. 1 or 2 days a week at most. Definitely should not be sleeping at each other's houses, if you know what I mean. You got to ration yourself out and take your own time, because what you don't want to do is put yourself in a position where you are basically fueling your attachment to him. And then now in your mind, you're holding him accountable to do things that he hasn't even committed to yet. And then you treating him like he the bad guy because he's dating other women. No, you just got attached prematurely. And you're expecting something of him that y'all haven't agreed to yet, that y'all may not even be ready to agree to yet. You know where I'm going with that? So yeah. That's just my thought. I think dating multiple people is a good idea. That doesn't mean you got to go to bed with everybody. Yeah, if you want to, that's your business, But you don't have to. Just have other options. And if a man doesn't want you to have other options, then he can commit to you. How long do you think an engagement should be? Like, how long should you be together until engagement? Girl, I had a man propose to me after about 3 weeks one time. Another one, what was it, 6 months? Shit, I think it was less than that. Girl. Just because a man proposed don't mean you gotta marry him tomorrow. But on the flip side, I would not, for me personally, I know some of y'all be together for years before a man proposes. That works for y'all. I'm glad that your relationship is solid at a level where that's okay for you. But for me personally, I don't think I would have the patience to wait that out. On the flip side, right? I feel like a man should know, reasonably speaking, if he wants to marry you within about a year. That's just me. That doesn't mean you get married in a year, but he should know if he wants to marry you within a year. If it's over a year and he still doesn't know if you're someone he would want to marry, then frankly, I think that it's, for me, I would be focused on dating other people at that point in time. Because what am I waiting on? You haven't figured out in a year? I'm good. You have a right to take your time, and I have a right to take my time to find somebody else. I couldn't feel emotionally invested in someone who, after a year, still doesn't know if he wants to spend his life with me. Or commit to me in that way. Come on now. Come on. That's why I love Southern men. I do. When I was dating in the States, I love dating Southern men because Southern men usually know what they want and they commit to it. Ain't all this, let's figure out going with the flow. Take that West Coast Northern shit somewhere the fuck else. I'm not waiting on that. I just need to figure out, I'm not sure. Well, baby, I'm not sure either, okay? But you know what I am sure of? The fact that I'm going out on a date on Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. You gonna date other people? I certainly am. We're casting a role here. Think of it like casting, like you're a producer and you're casting a role. You need an actor to be the star of the show or to be the co-star. If this actor isn't able to do it because maybe he's got another project happening right now, or maybe he doesn't want to do it, fine. Back to the auditions. Who else do we have? Who can come in? Okay, let's do some auditions. Who else can come in? Okay, great. The fuck? They're not going to stop a whole movie production just because actor A is not sure if he wants the job. Oh, that's great. Can we set up auditions on Monday? Yeah, bring in the 4 that we saw. Yeah, the one with the hair. Yeah, he's good too. Bring him in too. Bring in 5 then. No, it's fine. Take your time. Of course. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Girl, never wait on a man. Never wait on a man. Never wait on anybody. This isn't about men. Never wait on anybody. Same at church. Same when it comes to other parts of your life. I'm in the insurance industry. When I train people on how to sell, one of the things I always tell people is it's a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more people you can sell to. Everyone's not going to say yes. But you know that, let's say you want to close at least one person a day. Meaning you want to do at least one insurance sale a day. Well, you can't just talk to one person a day. Because that means if everybody you talk to buys, then that means you have a 100% closing ratio. That's not common. So you may say, well, I think I probably can close 1 in every 4 people I talk to. Okay, cool. Then that means you need to be talking to at least 4 people a day. For good measure, at least 5 people a day. You need to always have multiple options available to you. So if the one you want don't work out, you got another one. You see where I'm going with that? MJ, why do women stay with their cheating ass husbands? A number of reasons. Same reason why men stay with their cheating wives. Hoping that the person will change. Low self-esteem. Denial. Some people, though, it's their cultural values that although they don't like the idea of the person cheating, they don't view it as a big enough offense to leave. That's just a different cultural value. Some people's values is polyamory, open relationships. That's fine. That obviously does not classify as cheating. If it's permitted in your relationship, it's not cheating. But for some people, their values is that, okay, well, I saw my daddy cheat on my mom. I saw my mama cheat on my daddy all those years. I don't like it. We're going to fuss. I'm going to cut you out. I may even throw your clothes out the window. But we ain't breaking up. So it just depends on your values. I'm not here to judge your values. My thing is just be true to whatever your values are. You know? I like what she said here, comfort. Sometimes it's a fear of leaving. I'd rather keep the devil I have here than the devil I don't know. It could be any reason. You say, is it normal for an insurance company to not train people on products, but focus more on getting them to invite people to business opportunities meetings when they start in the industry? So I run a fairly large insurance agency. We recruit agents. We train them on how to get their license. But our biggest focus is really teaching you how to sell. And we have leads available, meaning leads, people you can call to propose and sell insurance to them, right? We're focused on sales. But there are other insurance businesses out here where they're more focused on recruitment, opportunity. So you get your license, and their thing is they're not really going to train you on how to sell anything. They're just going to say, bring people in, bring people in, bring people in. And they'll have your manager sell the insurance to those people, and they'll split the commission with you, right? But you're not really learning to sell. For some people, that's a great model for them because it's like, hey, I get to bring a lot of people. I don't really have to do the work of selling. Although I don't make all the commission, I make a piece of it. So this is fine, and maybe I'll learn how to sell over time. But for some people, they're like, no, I really want to learn how to sell insurance. I want to understand the products. I want to become an expert in this thing so I don't have to depend on someone else to close the deals for me. And therefore, I can keep all of my commission. I don't have to split it with someone else. We're an agency that caters more to those types of people. I know people who have made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on either side. So I'm not here to say that other approach is a bad approach. I'm not here to do that. That's not my position in this industry to ever talk down on an approach that is working very well for some people. But the approach that we do on our side is also an approach that works really well for some people, for a lot of people, actually. And so I think you have to choose what approach works for you, right? I think that's really what it comes down to. If you are interested in learning how to sell insurance or even buying insurance for yourself, maybe say, I don't really want to sell it, but I do want to buy it. Click the link that's on my Instagram page or the link that's directly above or below this video. It's going to take you to a page where you'll be able to click on it to schedule an appointment with an insurance producer on our team, or schedule an appointment with a licensed insurance producer, period. And it also lets you join our team as well. You'll see all the options there. It's the link that's on my Instagram page or the link that's directly above or below this video. You'll see it. Okay? All right, y'all. This has been wonderful. This has been grand. But I got to go. I'm going to put this video up on the other platforms just so you can watch it over there. All right, y'all. This has been wonderful. Y'all have a good one. Bye.